That background looks kind of like a prison cell, doesn't it? Well, given that it's been absolutely frigid and snowing its ass off here in Minnesota, it kind of feels that way. Did you get my big pictures hung up? I'm, yeah, that's about right. I see. I've been out of the loop for a minute because I've been so sick, but I'm feeling better, feeling stronger. Been laying here observing things. People been sending me messages, watching people have meltdowns and breakdowns and everything else. And here's the thing that the people fail to remember, and it's really easy to do because it's so seductive. Some of the ideas that we come across are so seductive to need to believe in. Well, that person's more important than me. He's more famous than I am. He knows more than I do. I'm going to follow that thought process. Well, here's an idea for you. So if you've come across some kind of magnificent idea that says this, somebody here, I'll just use Guido von List for one. A lot of people like him. A lot of people pay attention to him. I think he was a blind man that had a little bit too much time on his hands, and he did some good ideas that the younger Futh are. Well, here's the real question whenever you come across this. When you start reading the Seedian horse shit or listening to other podcasters and whatever rabbit hole they go down. Now, some of it's interesting. Aliens and Bigfoot and all this other nonsense. It's once we jump into this radical departure from the norm, everything seems to be. It's like it's all hell. Let's go look at it now. There's no societal denigration of our efforts to look at these ideas that we're curious about. The problem happens when we start looking at those ideas, and then we begin to feel like, well, I know something you don't know, and I feel more important than you, and because I know more than you, um, you're not as worth you're not as worth as much as I am. I mean, this is the this is at the forefront of so much independent thought, and it's a real pitfall. How do people that come into this way of life, that come into true or whatever pagan belief you happen to want to believe in, because there's a number of them. All of them provide, depending on how you pursue it, they're capable of providing a sound spiritual foundation for you to move forward in the world, to get that support. Um, and I'll tell you why that's important. So when I was sick, my fever hit 103, and I was kind of delirious, and my mind was. I had this repetitive thought going through my mind of putting boxes together and packaging things and doing something, and then I had to do it all over again. Or no, this didn't qualify. It was a repetitive thought process of performing this action and then having to do it again. Or it was fucking maddening. Now, when you're sick like that, and you're not really sure of your surroundings or what's going on, what is the thought process that keeps you saying, all right, I got to keep trying? Because if my thought process at that point was, I am so tired of thinking this, I need something to help me change. I don't care what that looks like. Could be death, could be the end, could be whatever. I mean, how many people get stuck in some kind of thought process that's absolutely maddening, and with no seemingly way out of it, you're completely disconnected from illness or whatever's going on in your body. What is it that gives you the idea to keep trying? Where do you find that inner strength to keep moving forward? Where do you find that inner strength to to live, I guess is the best way to put it? Where do you find that strength to keep trying in the darkest of times when your thought process is absolutely eating at the very essence of your ability to live? And you don't have to be burning a fever of 103 to be in that situation. Could be anything going on. I would submit to you that at that point, faith in spiritual matters is what gives us what we need to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving. Now, where does that come from? Well, I can assure you of one thing. It doesn't come from my understanding of Anglo-Saxon law or Salian law or fucking Guido von List or the fuck's that moron's name? I don't know, whatever dickhead died in prison over some writing the 88 precepts. I can't remember his name right now. See, that's another thing too. After I got sick, I can't keep forgetting shit. Those intellectual pursuits, while they may provide some justification for how important you want to think you are, when the chips are really, really, really down, they don't mean a fucking thing. How come people don't understand that? I'll tell you why, because their egos are more magnificent than mine. And mine's pretty important. Mine's impressive. At least everybody says that. I prefer to call it confidence. Let's get that straight right now. The point is, we're going to face a lot of challenges in our life. More than we can begin to imagine. And sometimes the only thing we have left, if I hadn't been as strong as I was, I don't know that I would have made it through what I went through. That's just the way it is. We take care of our bodies. We take care of our minds. We take care of our emotional needs. We take care of our spiritual needs. The 4 aspects of a being. You can dive into the 8 parts of the heathen soul if you wish to, and may find a rewarding endeavor there that might help you through such a scenario. But goddamn, at some point, we got to ask ourselves, in a legitimate scenario, and spiritual leaders need to be asking it too. Okay, you know all that. What good does that fucking do? What good does it do for you to know that? Now, if you're pursuing a higher education, by all means, you need to have a broad and expansive view of everything available. And we have the Google, and the Google knows most of it, or you can find it on the Google. There's so many different paths that we might look at and pursue. All of them seem to have this unique thing where the blinders from life are removed from our eyes. All of the conditioned thoughts and patterned ideas and social constructs and conditioning that make us feel like we fit in or we work and this is how it's supposed to go. They get removed when we finally break far enough that we decide to try a new spirituality. And once we begin down that path, we become aware of so many things. That's why I'm so fond of King Gylfi entering the halls of where the Aesir reside. And as soon as he enters those halls, he's beset with all kinds of wonderful sights and things going on, and he could stay at any one of them and be entertained. Might even become proficient at what's going on there to compete if he wanted to. Here's the problem. Getting sidetracked by all that nonsense, which is exactly why they did it, would have prevented him from asking the question he needed to know. Do all of things go these way because of the nature of your being? Or is it because of the God you worship? Little did he know that it was the first. See, we have all of that potential and more in our lives. We're not even aware of it. I have some recollection of traveling to Oklahoma. I have some recollection of laying on this couch and being sick and my daughter saying, "Daddy, I'm scared." These things, Why, that should have given any strong man the encouragement to get up and try, which I did. But when your body stops and you're laying there with respiratory failure and pneumonia from COVID and hypertension and kidney injury because you're so fucking dehydrated, and your fever's running at 103, and you need to go to the hospital, but you're really not aware that you need to go to the hospital. What keeps you moving forward? It may not be a grand and glorious thought. It might simply be that you've constructed your own set of patterned thoughts that your spirit and your emotions and your body and your mind can't give you that extra oomph to keep moving forward and try. It's the most important thing we can ever do when we cultivate within our spirituality the understanding that one more step is always necessary. And we have all of these examples of all these gods that do just exactly that in the direst of circumstances, that do take one more step, that continue on in some fantastic fashion that gives us the strength to pursue the greatness of living. Instead of being a cunt, you start talking about everything I think I know, and I know a lot. Every day in my email, I get emails from academia on whatever new scientific research is being done in that field, in this field. It's always interesting. I find that very little of it cultivates within my thought process the spirituality that I have so fervently grabbed a hold of while trying to pursue a life as a father, as basically as an only parent, or to be that man worth his salt in the world of business, just in life. It would be far easier for me to, as my friend once told me, he said, Bryan, you've got a great big loudspeaker. You really want to use it to destroy other people? There's a part of me that would enjoy it immensely. But more importantly, I would rather see the people that decide to pay attention to the things I'm saying. I would rather see them have the same structure in their thoughts and their hearts to be able to withstand and endure the toughest that life has to offer them, and come out on top, come out the other side, and still be standing strong like I'm doing today. See, that's the real benefit of all of this. Buddha said it, 1,000 candles can be lit by the light of one. Each of us has within ourselves the ability to do great things. Sometimes the greatest challenge we might ever undertake is to live through the toughest of circumstances, when others give up, when others decide to lay down and try again. I know some people that have been dealt some pretty shitty hands in life. I know some right now going through the ringer, dealing with some of the toughest things you can imagine. Quit wasting time on arguing with book reports about who knows the most about this or about that. Grab a hold of one thing, preferably the poetic or the prosetta, despite what anyone says about it. Make that your foundation. Understand what all of those images, allegories, and other ideas that are contained within those tales and lore, how they might relate to your life today. Build your foundation there, firmly within the realm of the spirit. And then read Barbarians and the Well of Remembrance and Homer and God Against the Gods and Foxfire and the One-Eyed God and Barbarians and all of these other books that are Thoreau, Lying with the Heavenly Woman, the Foxfire book. Magic in Middle Ages. This is how we create the lives that we need. This is how we celebrate the partners that we have. This is how we set that example that might leave such an impression upon our children and grandchildren that they might also learn how to live after we're gone. To the friends and the people that we love, that they might find something within themselves that gives them the strength to stand up and try one more time, no matter what it might look like. No matter if that thought process is maddening and sucking the life out of you, and you feel alone, and you feel like you're trapped, and your best thinking got you in a position that I don't know how to get out of. This is where faith comes in. This is the importance of faith. This is why it's so important to figure out in these words of our ancestors, where was the faith? What gave them the strength to do these great and mighty and terrible things when I can't even get out of bed and go to fucking work? That's why I'm better than all the rest. That's how it goes. Try it. Don't be a bitch. Get up and try. Find that faith and cultivate the spirit of your being. And I don't give a shit which path you choose. Choose one. And then do like everything else. Grab it by the nose and whip its ass.